Now, there are groom's wedding speeches and there are groom's wedding speeches. And this was Tom Fletcher from boy band McFly's wedding speech.
Thanks to my mum, thanks to my dad, you've both been the best mum and dad I could have. I won't say too much, 'cause I know you'll start crying, but you gave me everything, from music to flying.
That wasn't Tom Fletcher's wedding speech. That was part of it. It was 14 minutes long, and it went through a fair few of McFly's hits, changing the words to show appreciation for all the people he had to thank. It was a novel approach that seemed to get the thumbs up from most of... Somebody told me there's 8 million people have watched this online now. That is absolutely incredible. Any Saturday night show on the telly would be more than happy to have 8 million viewers. That shows you how technology is changing the world. But let's see if it met with the approval of Chris Tate from thebestmanspeech.com. Hi there, Chris.
Hello there.
Hi. Did you have a wee tear in your eye?
Well, well, let me first say that Tom Fletcher posting that video online has actually been terrible for my business, because we deal in words and not songs, and I imagine every groom now is going to want a wedding speech song, because...
Oh, really? Will it have that impact, you think?
Well, it's sort of... what's happened is, because of all the chatter on Facebook and Twitter, and the 8 million YouTube views his speech has had...
Were you saying that through gritted teeth there, Chris? I could hear it.
You know, he totally pulled it off, and I think there were two sort of big reasons for that. Is one, that he was singing to the tune of his own hits, and he also had a great PA system and a powerful musical accompaniment, and that just the whole thing was so
polished,
wonderfully conceived,
and a children's choir that came in at the end.
Yeah, I sort of feel that that's probably beyond the reach of your traditional groom out there. But
I know, I have visions of a bloke on a ukulele saying, "Oh, I really think you're lovely. I really think you're swell." Yeah,
and that's, I mean, it's not uncommon for sort of grooms to have a go at that. It's really common in America, in actual fact, for sort of American grooms to sing part or all of their wedding speech. And for me, it's never really looked like working. But I have to say, Tom Fletcher's was pretty brilliant, and he achieved the one thing that you're really supposed to achieve from a groom speech, and that is to get the acknowledgement from your bride. And she just looked...
I know.
Well, she was very, very pleased.
She did seem to be completely overwhelmed, didn't she? I mean, the groom's speech isn't traditionally seen as the hardest one, is it? I mean, you've just got to be nice to people and thank the right people and stuff. It's the best man speech, and you're called thebestmanspeech.com, that's usually the one that guys sweat about, or indeed more often now girls also who fulfil that role. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, the groom really just has to, as you say, they just have to cover a couple of thank yous and say something nice about their new bride. But the best man, particularly in this country, is expected to really entertain and wow the wedding guests with their wit and humour, and it can sometimes be quite overwhelming. I did see some comments with the Tom Fletcher speech saying that it was a bit of a cop-out because, he knows how to sing, and he did acknowledge right at the beginning of his speech that he was very nervous about doing a traditional speech, but it's much better than hiding behind PowerPoint, which is what some best men do. And there's a real trend actually now, I think with YouTube and how easy it is to make a video, is that some best men actually pre-record their speech the week before, and they intersperse it with interviews of the groom's family and friends, and then on the day,
who do they think they are, Eamon Andrews?
Well, I know. I mean, I think it's such a shame, because you'll never get a more receptive audience than a wedding speech. They are than a wedding audience, because they're just so predisposed to root for you.
Yeah.
And if a best man, even if they start off with just saying how wonderful the bride looks, well, everyone's going to start clapping and cheering, and then immediately you're off.
Yeah, but, you've obviously not been to a Glasgow wedding. It's not guaranteed, it has to be said.
Well, I have seen a lot of wedding speeches, and I have to say that the ones I see from Scotland, the best men in particular, They seem to have just so much more confidence, and they always make it funny. So I really enjoy when people send those clips onto the website.
Oh, that's good
I really
to hear.
enjoy seeing those. I saw a best man from Scotland. It was I'm trying to think, it was January, December. But anyway, he opened with something like, however cold the weather might be in Scotland, there are distinct advantages for a man in wearing traditional Scottish dress at a wedding. Unlike women, we don't have a nervous breakdown if another bloke turns up wearing the same skirt as us. In fact, we're very relieved. So, I mean, and immediately everyone's laughing and clapping, and the fella's off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my advice to best men is just, it's a light-hearted speech.
Yeah. Is there any absolute do not do this? And I know you've got your reservations about singing, but that might now become a trend. But apart from that, anything, just don't go there.
Yeah, I mean, never refer to previous girlfriends of the groom. That's an absolute no, but people do that. And I suppose the second thing is don't swear. I think some people get quite nervous and they're not really in control of what's coming out of their mouth. So to avoid that happening is pretty much have most of it written down in front of you.
And stick to it, stick to it.
And then the worst thing, of course, is going over 10 minutes. But then Tom Fletcher was 14, was the groom's speech, and I guess that was kind of a little bit too long. But yeah, keep it short. Really aim for 7 minutes.
Well, we're probably about 7 minutes now, so we better call a halt there. Chris, thank you very much. That's Chris Tate there from thebestmanspeech.com, and that's nice to hear that he's had a lot of best man speeches posted into him, and a lot of the Scottish ones are very, very funny. He says an absolute no-no is do not mention previous relationships, and he's not very keen on the song. I have actually been to a wedding where the best man sang a song about a previous relationship, so that was a bit of a double whammy there. But let me know your wedding speech triumphs and disasters. So somebody saying, this is from Morag, the humanist marriage officer. I don't know if you call it an occupational hazard, but I've seen some of the best and worst speeches at weddings over the years. The best was a groom's speech where he thanked everyone and talked about his beautiful bride and how much he was in love with her. He spoke truly from the heart, and there was not a dry eye in the house, including mine. The worst has to be a cautionary tale to the best man. Do not spend the majority of the speech talking about the groom's exes. Here you go, here it comes. It might look hilarious on paper, but believe me, it's not that funny. It might also result in either a punch from the groom or the bride, or in the case of the one that I witnessed, the best man received a punch from both and is no longer a friend. These are the kind of stories I want to hear. Mark Smith was a lot more basic about it. He said, at my wedding speech, I told everyone that the buffet was charged per head. I then went on to thank all those that didn't make it. Oh dear, making a point. Right, where are we going now?